Everyone, welcome back. If you believed you had seen everything there is to know about the world of K-drama actors, you would be left dumbfounded by today's story. Lee Minho sobs for the first time ever and reveals something nobody saw coming. He admits that Song Hye Kyo was the only person who has truly touched his heart. What transpired between them? Why now? And would this be a second opportunity for a romance that fans have been hoping for years? Stay tuned to the very end if you want to know the truth about his emotional confession. To ensure that you never miss any updates like this one, remember to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. It wasn't during a film production, a big awards ceremony, or a carefully planned promotional tour that Lee Minho broke down in tears over Song Hye Kyo. On a quiet late-night talk program, Lee Minho unexpectedly revealed his deepest feelings to the public. His eyes, which are typically full of charm and poise, glistened with unadulterated vulnerability, and the room went silent as he spoke. He remarked quietly, "I've never met anyone who made me feel seen like she did." She didn't need to be identified. Everyone kept thinking about Song Hye Kyo. The seemingly impenetrable Lee Minho, the king of K-dramas, was deteriorating in front of the cameras, and it had nothing to do with controversy or problems in one's profession. It was due to a woman who had permanently altered his soul. Rumors about their relationship had been circulating for years. Industry rumors suggested late-night discussions, mutual adoration, and a camaraderie that was deeper than either of them had publicly acknowledged, despite the fact that they had never collaborated on a film. Until today, he had never verified anything. His voice caught as he confessed, "She wasn't just someone I knew. She was tranquil. She was at home." Fans went into a frenzy after hearing that one sentence. Old videos of the two going to the same events reappeared on social media, and social media platforms exploded. Photographs of their fleeting interactions, always cordial and respectful, were re-examined from a fresh perspective. Was there always something more? Lee Minho had been holding on to a letter sent to Song Hye Kyo for years, according to a source close to the actor. The message had never been mailed and had never been discussed until recently. Parts of the letter, which were read aloud during the interview, described times that flowed through their fingers like sand and a love that lacked a name. The message said, "You saw me. Not the mask, not the fame, just me. Furthermore, I was unsure of how to accept that type of love. Even though I ignored it, I never forgot." The country joined him in his tears. This scene wasn't taken from a drama script. It was authentic. Admirers who had once praised him for his self-assurance, grin, and well-groomed appearance now did so because of something even more admirable: his bravery in exposing a wounded heart. However, the revelation wasn't the only thing that rocked the world. The timing was the problem. A few days before to the interview airing, Song Hye Kyo shared a mysterious image of a single candle flickering in the dark on Instagram with the statement, "Some lights never go out." The connection was immediately recognized by fans. Was that him she was talking about? Had she too clung to this unseen thread of feeling for so long? Neither had ever acknowledged a love affair, but in their silence, there was a past that spoke louder than words, a history that required no justification. A bond unlike any other was described by those who knew them well. A mutual friend claimed that although they never had an official relationship, there was a profound connection between them based on the way they looked at each other and spoke to each other. They had a mutual understanding that no one else possessed. The lives of Song Hye Kyo and Lee Minho were characterized by constant media attention, a large fan base, and worldwide renown. Maybe that was what separated them in the first place. It's rarely easy to love someone like them. Cameras, headlines, and unrelenting criticism are all part of it. It calls for sacrifice and secrecy, and occasionally it asks you to leave the one who makes you feel at home. The fact that Lee Minho was clearly in pain added to the impact of the confession. This was hardly a case of nostalgia. It was loss, a silent, painful loss he had been carrying for years. He spoke as a man who discovered too late that he had Let the right person go, not as a famous person. He muttered, there were so many times I could have expressed my feelings to her. However, I said nothing. I believed I had time. When the camera panned to his shaking hands, it became evident that he wasn't crying because he missed her. He sobbed because his opportunity was lost. Reactions were all over the internet. Supporting notes were submitted by fans worldwide. Some even begged Song Hye Kyo to get in touch with them in open letters. Others started using the hashtag #YakStillTime to trend in the hopes that perhaps this story wasn't yet finished. Song Hye Kyo, for her part, has not spoken since the interview, but according to reports, she was more than moved and affected than words can convey. It's unclear if she will reply in secret or in public. However, there is no denying the significance of Lee Minho's remarks. He opted for sincerity in a field that relies heavily on deception. He demonstrated strength in a society when being vulnerable is viewed as weakness, and he gave one of the most sincere performances we've seen in a long time, in a culture that frequently hides behind formality. Will they eventually return to one another? Nobody is aware. If love has taught us anything, it's that sometimes the most profound admissions happen when we least expect them, and sometimes the quietest stories are the loudest. It all started with a single tear, which suddenly and gently trickled down the face of the guy we believed to be indestructible. Lee Minho, the austere, attractive face of Korean drama aristocracy, sat across from the host with shaking hands on a quiet evening discussion program. Over the years, he has been the subject of innumerable inquiries concerning his life, career, and work. However, something changed in the room this time when the host inquired about love, remorse, and the person who fled. Lee Minho was not grinning. He didn't sidestep the query. There is one woman I never forgot, and no one has ever come close to what she made me feel, he uttered in a whisper. There was silence among the spectators. The room fell silent, and then he spoke the name that everyone had long wondered about but had never ventured to verify, Song Hye Kyo. Nobody anticipated this. The quiet, perhaps imperceptible connection between the two had long been the subject of public speculation. Their paths had crossed in a dozen subtle ways, including fashion shows, charity galas, and exclusive industry meetings, where their eyes always managed to find each other, despite the fact that they had never performed together in any major series. It now appears that the story was real all along, albeit concealed behind a shroud of fame and terror. In the past, fans would joke that they had unfinished drama chemistry. His voice broke as he said, "She saw me. Even I didn't understand the part of me that she saw." His remarks rocked fans everywhere. This unvarnished honesty was a shock to someone who was renowned for his charm, poise, and flawless appearance. Since his breakup with Suzy, Lee Minho had never openly acknowledged being in a committed relationship. Now, he was finally speaking out, and it was heartbreak, not publicity. An old handwritten letter appeared online in the days that followed. Although he hadn't disclosed it, insiders claim it was authentic, written years ago and stored in a drawer. The letter was straightforward but eerie. It said, "I didn't know how to handle what I felt for you. I was a hurricane until you entered my life like a gently blowing wind. I pushed you away out of fear of being too obvious, but you have been on my mind constantly ever since." There was only an initial on the letter, no signature. Social media took off. The quote was reposted thousands of times by fans. Fan art portraying the two stars side by side, separated by silence and time, started to appear. Some even conjured up the possibilities of wedding pictures, red carpet appearances, and kids with Song Hye Kyo's smile and Lee's gaze. However, a fan in Seoul remarked, "He didn't lose her to another man," which may have been the most widely shared post. His own silence caused him to lose her. To make matters worse, Song Hye Kyo shared an enigmatic picture on her personal Instagram a few days prior to Lee Minho's confession airing. An antique photograph of a handwritten poetry on timing and love. "Always" was the only word in the caption. All of a sudden, fans started making connections. Had she been clinging to him as well? Did she mean to imply that she also never really moved on? A friend who chose to remain nameless disclosed that the actress watched the interview in secret and sobbed. According to the friend, she was overwhelmed. She didn't anticipate him saying it, and now she's at a loss for what to do. He's the only man I couldn't read, and maybe the only one I truly wanted to, Song Hye Kyo reportedly said in a private conversation.